Hello. So as most of you guys know, I recently moved out and started university. So in this video, I'm just going to be answering your guys' questions on how that's been going. So obviously I'm going to be talking about like my own experience for these questions, but I'm also going to try and answer them as more of like a general advicey kind of answer as well, so that if you guys are like moving out or going to university, that you kind of know what to expect. Also, a lot of you guys asked like similar questions, so I've kind of like generalized them into like one question, if that makes sense. So starting off simple, the first question is, how did you pick your course and your uni? How did you know that it was the right choice and everything? So if you don't already know, I am studying hair, makeup and prosthetics at UCW, or Western College, whatever you want to call it. So as for the course, I actually didn't know that I wanted to do like special effects makeup until the start of college, so like almost exactly 2 years ago. But when I did finally figure it out, then it kind of like made so much sense, because it was like a combination of everything that I have ever wanted to do since I was a kid. Like as a kid, I always used to love doing like fake cuts and stuff for like Halloween and stuff like that, but I never like thought of it as a job until I started college. As well as other things, like when I was a kid, I was super interested in like medical things. Like I didn't want to be a doctor, but I was just like really fascinated by medical stuff. And a bit darker, I've also always been really interested in like murder investigations and like forensic science and autopsies and stuff like that, which now has kind of come back up as like part of my course. Literally my homework last week was to read autopsy reports and then like recreate the injuries in special effects, which is a bit messed up, but it was fun. But again, they were all kind of interests that I never thought of doing like as a job. I was actually planning on being a fashion designer, so in high school and the start of college I was doing like subjects around that, and then like a month into college I had like seen everyone on the makeup course, like saw all the work they were doing, and I was like, I want to do that. And so I ended up switching to doing that, and that is kind of when I started thinking of it as like a job, and that is when I started like my makeup Instagram thing, which if you don't follow me on Instagram, go do that. So yeah, that is basically a long-winded answer of how I picked my course. And then for my choice of uni, I was specifically looking at universities near Bristol, because when I was 7, then me and my family moved to Bristol for 1 year, and it was like the best year ever, and I've literally wanted to move back ever since. And so 11 years later, I'm finally doing that. And this was actually only the second university that I ever looked at. There was one other that I looked at that was actually in Bristol, except I didn't like it and like the course wasn't that good. And then I came here and I loved everything about it. The fact that it's literally on the beach, the course looked really good, the people were really nice, everything about it was just perfect. And I actually didn't even look at any other unis after this one. This is the only one I applied for. So yeah, that is how I picked my uni. Next question is, what are you enjoying the most? So it sounds weird, but just having something to do. Obviously with everything going on in the world, I haven't been in education or work or really had anything to do since March, which has been nice in its own way, but it's also kind of nice now feeling like I have a purpose again and like a reason to get out of bed in the morning. So I don't know, I feel like I kind of appreciate that more now. And then on the flip side, what is the most challenging? So for me personally, this would have to be the accommodation situation. If you don't know, I live in a shared flat with 4 other people who I had never met before moving here, which I wanted to do because I thought it'd force me to be more sociable and make it easier to like make friends and stuff. But instead it kind of did the opposite and has just sent me into a spiral of social anxiety. So like I will literally avoid going to the kitchen to make food while people are in there, because all I'm thinking the whole time is, oh, they're judging what I look like, what I'm wearing, what I'm eating, how much or how little I'm eating, the way I'm making it, the way I'm standing. Like obviously they're not, like, I mean, it might be, I don't know, but like this isn't specific to like the people that I'm living with. It's just like the way my brain is with anyone that I'm not like 100% comfortable around. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna live alone next year if possible. And then kind of leading on from that question is it hard to make friends? Which kind of yes, both because I am just a socially anxious, awkward person, but also obviously with like social distancing and everything, you're not really allowed to like mix with other flats, you're not allowed to go to parties or social events or anything like that. So yes, it is kind of difficult. The only people that I really know and I guess I'm friends with is like people in my class, which is good and that's fine obviously, but like I don't only want to be friends with people who are on my course, you know what I mean? But it's not impossible. Like if I just put in the effort to go and meet people and talk to people, then I could make friends, but I am too awkward to do that, so I'm not going to. Again, kind of linking on from the last question is how are social events now, obviously with social distancing. Honestly, kind of trash. Maybe I am being slightly cynical just because I don't like social events at the best of times, but like Freshers Week, for example, kind of just sucked because you're in this room full of people that you want to be talking to, but instead you have to just sit at a table talking to your flatmates, and it's like you might as well just sit in your flat and do that. It's literally a social event minus the social. Like, I don't see the point, but that's just me. How does it feel to move away from where you grew up, and do you miss your best friends? So I mean, I didn't really like the area that I grew up in. Like, I always wanted to move away from it because it's really kind of just like gross and ugly. So I mean, like, obviously I miss the people there and everything, but like, I don't know, I've never really liked the area in general, so like I wanted to move away. But in terms of like missing my friends, I mean, by the time I moved here, I like didn't even really have friends because like my entire friendship group completely screwed me over, so I said a big massive F you to all of them, and so I only had like 3 proper like close friends by the time I moved, who I still message as much as I used to. Obviously I miss being able to like see them as often as I want, but it's not changed that much, and it'll mean that when I do get to see them, then it'll like make it better, you know. How do you manage your time? So for me, I have university 3 days a week. I have it on Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, and so on those days I obviously have classes, and then I will also try and get as much of my homework done on those days as well, so I'm kind of keeping uni work to like those 3 days as much as possible. And then on the Tuesday in between, I kind of like to do still kind of productive things to keep me in the flow, so I'll do things like planning videos and, you know, meal prepping and stuff like that. Fridays I usually end up having homework still to do on Friday, so I again just try and get it all done on that day so I still have the weekend. And then Saturday is basically my YouTube day, I guess, so that's when I will film and edit and get the video up and scheduled to go out on the Sunday. And then Sundays I kind of just keep as like my day off. I basically try and get everything done by the Saturday so that on Sunday I can just chill and do whatever I want and kind of keep that as like a self-care, like reset day kind of thing. Stuff like cleaning and laundry and food shopping and stuff like that, I don't have like a specific day for. I kind of just do when it needs doing, and that is basically how my schedule is going so far. Next is, how do you manage your emotions? So just generally as a person, I will go through every emotion under the sun like every 24 hours, but as you can imagine, since like moving out and everything changing, that kind of got slightly worse, and there have been phases where I have just been like completely unmotivated and just laying in bed all day crying and not wanting to do anything. I've kind of got out of that now, but like that was definitely a phase at the start. Obviously I do still have like down days, and when I do, then I will usually just FaceTime someone, whether it's like my parents or my best friend or my sister, and that always seems to help, even if I'm not talking to them about like how I'm feeling or anything like that. It's just kind of nice to like talk to people that you are like comfortable around. Other than that, stuff like walking on the beach and listening to podcasts and reading and just in general kind of letting myself just feel that feeling and then move on from it rather than like repressing it until it gets worse. Next is ideal future job. I like this question. So I don't really have like one job that I would be happy just doing every day for the rest of my life. Like, I just need change. So for me, I kind of want to have opportunities doing loads of kinds of different things and like working in different industries instead of just sticking to one job every single day. So my ideal situation would be for YouTube to do well enough to a point where I'm also then getting other opportunities in different industries, like starting a clothing brand and having a makeup company and writing a book and starting a magazine, as well as obviously working on films doing special effects makeup. So yeah, basically my ideal job is to have a ton of different jobs. And then the last question is from Claudia C, who said, can I be the last question? Yes. So there we have it. That is my update on how university is going. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you are moving out or going to university that this gave you an insight into what that's like. Also, good luck if you are. Subscribe if you are new. I've got a ton of other university related content on my channel if you want to go check that out. Also follow me on social media if you want. They're all down in the description. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.